Guys, do you know how we should start the podcast? This clip about Slovenia winning against Italy?
Tell us. Shout out to Alenomic, or Vitas, as we call him in our office here in Lithuania.
Can you explain that to the audience? Why is
I think it's too long of a story.
Let's keep the
story
short for the story. For the semifinals, if Slovenia makes it.
Okay.
Then we're gonna
The
make
legend
it.
of Vitas will be told when it's appropriate.
Because the legend of Luka Doncic has been continued in this EuroBasket. 42 points. Slovenia beat Italy by 7, and they made the EuroBasket quarterfinals. Something which didn't surprise us during the competition, but I bet many didn't see them reaching that far before the competition has started. Guys, what are your reactions?
You want to start, Gitas? Or
No, I want the Italian guy to start. The guy who was singing the national anthem.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who was rooting for his
He actually
Italy.
speaks Italian.
Speaks
you know.
Italian.
With
Sorry,
Gitas, we're
sì.
speaking
Oggi-
Lithuanian when we watch those games, but Augustas is like our naturalized player and he speaks Italian.
Allora, oggi abbiamo perso una partita bruttissima. Abbiamo difeso Luka Doncic malissimo.
Any
I thi- I-
curse,
no,
any
no,
curse
listen,
words?
I'll actually translate. The defense against Luka Doncic was terrible, and that was the case for the first, let's say, minutes of the game, where Luka got a few kind of open shots. Okay, he missed the first few. He got a few steals. Then he made a few shots, not necessarily from the three, from his comfortable spots in the sort of a mid-range area, from the free throw line, sort of. And then he just kept shooting kind of open shots because the defense was, let's switch and let Luka attack Danilo Gallinari one-on-one,
Marcus Pisu.
Marcus Pisu one-on-one.
Anyone, basically.
Anyone in the Italian team.
Yeah.
And me and Donatas, our first initial thought about this, how we're going to call this video was, is this the worst defense you could put on Luka Doncic? And I was waiting for your analysis of this actually as a basketball
30
mind.
point first half.
30 points
30
in the first
point
half.
first half.
22 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And they were leading by 16. Slovenia were leading by 16 early points. So that was also important. And my first thing when I saw this defense was the plan from Pozzecco and the Italian coaching staff was like, we tried to isolate Luka from the entire team. We let him play one-on-one, use a lot of dribbles. He didn't have many assists today like he usually does. One assist in 33 minutes. So I think that was the plan. But the problem was that they were not going to help from one pass away. They were not trying to close the driving gaps. They left Luka alone. They left the defender alone on the Luka Island. Usually, it's not a good idea because Luka scored so many points. He had 7 made field goals out of 9 in the first quarter or something like that. But my idea was that they are trying to just tire Luka playing this way, playing off the dribble, scoring all the points, and trying to isolate him from the other team. But they quickly saw that's not a great plan, and they started hedging, and leaving the same defender that was on him initially in the second half. And actually, they had pretty nice defensive possessions in the second half. Italians got a lot of deflections, played more physical with Luka when he was trying to get the ball in the post, and that defense worked way better than what they had planned in the beginning.
To me, it sounds ridiculous, this idea of making Luka tired by letting him do what he's the most comfortable with. Because playing one-on-one against smaller defenders, against slower defenders, this is something that got him into rhythm, essentially. And then he started making step-back threes over people.
I'm okay if you're leaving your defender in Luka's island, if that defender is Niang, or Diouf after a switch, Nico Meli, Fontecchia, whatever. But he was just after the switch, he was getting Gallinari, Spisu. Like Spisu, he couldn't even contest. He was not shooting into his face because he was way above Spisu's face. Gallinari, I mean, in his last game of his career, you cannot do that with the veteran. You cannot keep him
years old.
in Luka Doncic's island. So I was shocked, I was surprised, and I couldn't believe when Augustus mentioned this tactical, strategy. It would make sense if you're trying to get him tired, but it didn't feel like he got tired making those easy shots from sweet spots,
Yeah.
and getting him to feel so comfortable so early, so easily. I thought it's going to be a huge problem for Italy.
Maybe this was not the plan, but just the players did not execute it somewhat well. We can't really know what the plan was before the game unless Gianmarco Pozzecco tells us in the post-game presser. But yeah, they defended way better in the second half, I would say, in the fourth quarter. And Luka came back into the game. Slovenia were up by 17 with 8 minutes to go, 75-58. And I think that Italians actually had this game. They came back, and they could have came back way before this. Down 9, Simone Fontecchio and 4 Italians are against 1 Slovenian in a fast break. And instead of scoring a layup, they get an offensive foul. Then you get a lot of missed open shots around the rim. Nico Melli missed a wide open layup. Saliu Niang, instead of making a layup after some nice footwork, he gets fouled, makes 1 free throw, and scores, I think, 1 free throw out of 5 in the last quarter. Then you get a lot of shots that are just not going in. And I think Italy, with the way they played today, and it was not great, they still had a chance, but it's just, I don't know. They couldn't close out. They couldn't manage to get 3 solid possessions in a row, and it's just, it wouldn't allow Slovenia to actually lose this game. And I have to say, other guys in Slovenia bench, Slovenia role players did a great job. I mean, they built that lead without Luka Doncic. He was resting
that's the
and,
craziest part.
and they made a lot of shots. That was super important.
One more time, it's like we're repeating the same thing about his supporting cast during this EuroBasket. When Luka is on the bench, when you feel like it's the time to reduce the gap or it's the time to build the lead, actually, no, the score is not changing. And shout out to those guys. Many thought that they won't be capable of helping Luka to go that far, but here they are.
I mean, statistically, you look at the stats. Luka's the only guy over 11 points. Clement Prepelic had 3 3-pointers and 2 free throws, so that's 11 points from him. All the rest of the guys are in single digits, and then Luka with 42, obviously. So you might look at the stats and think, oh, what are you guys even talking about? But if you actually watch the game, you see that in those important moments, that's when those plays happen. Yeah. That's when those, maybe 5 or 2 or 3 points that don't look fancy, they happened when it mattered. And then, of course, at the end, you already broke down how Italy didn't capitalize with their chances. They had, like you said, like the door was open.
For such a long time.
The door was open for
such
Italy.
a long time. Because this is, we are praising now Slovenia, but this is not a good Slovenian team. But just Italians, their tournament was not great. We have to say this was not a great Italian team. And if Alen Omic dominates in offensive rebounds against you, that's, you're not in a good position.
But that's his job. That's why
I know,
he's here,
but
to get those rebounds.
15 offensive rebounds by the whole Slovenia team.
They're fighters, man. They always do that. Luka shoots and they're crashing the boards. That's the way they play. So Luka scored 42 points, which is half of Slovenia's points. And I remember at one point in the first half, the score was Luka Doncic 27, Italy 25.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I just want to say something now, not really related to the game, but to the whole tournament. Who would have thought, when we were doing our fantasy draft, that picking Luka Doncic was going to be better than picking, let's say, Nikola Jokic, who we all said, oh, of course you pick Nikola Jokic because he's going to go to the final. And Luka Doncic, well, maybe in the group stage he'll beast around, and then in the 8 finals he'll get eliminated. This tournament.
Yeah. And what's funny? We were like, oh, Nikola Jokic doesn't have good supporting cast when Bogey's out.
When you put it into perspective,
now,
yeah,
right?
that's crazy actually. But
I think
Giannis doesn't have good supporting cast, you know. And Luka is like listening to this podcast. Wow, guys, wow.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't think about his teammates, the way we do.
Guys,
that's for sure.
I think I had the third pick in our fantasy draft, fourth pick, and I had to choose Lauri Markkanen and somebody else, I think. And I was like, damn, I think I had like Luka and Lauri in the same team. And I was like, damn, these guys are going to play like in the group and maybe one more game. Instead, they're both in the quarterfinals.
I picked Giannis and
maybe someone else.
Whatever.
It's okay, whatever, yeah.
There are two guys I want to praise on the Italian team. Saliu Niang is the guy who I wanted to see fronting and defending Luka Doncic. I mean, he did tremendous job in the second half. I don't remember if he actually was subbed at any point when Luka was on the floor. He got this fifth foul, unfortunately, but Niang, like, he never got caught up with this pump fake of Luka. He never jumped when he was faking. He was always like breathing to his face. So it was a tremendous defensive effort. By the way, with him on the floor, Niang scored 12 points, 6 rebounds, and with him on the floor, Italy was +9. And Danilo Gallinari, I didn't expect that in the second half, when Italy couldn't score, they couldn't find ways to score, he will be the go-to guy. He will be the one taking those shots in the fourth quarter. At some point, maybe it was just too much because I was expecting Fontecchia to take the lead because Gallinari was obviously tired at the moment because he was playing a long stretch. But the way he played in his last game of his career was something like, wow, this guy is giving his, himself all out on that floor to help his team. And they were really close. And thanks to Danilo, they had this chance to stay close.
And Slovenia is going to have to give it all out and even more. And I don't even know how much to have a chance against Germany. And that's another topic we should probably touch upon a little bit. Obviously, Germany is the most solid team of the tournament, most dominant team. They actually look unstoppable at the moment. Slovenia, we know that, even in this game, they didn't look great and they managed to win. Of course, Luka looked tremendous, but I feel like Germany, with their defensive tools, with their just offensive arsenal, this is going to be it. Like this must be the only predictable score. I can't really imagine, unless of course this tournament can surprise us every time.
I mean, look, you just have to remember what happened yesterday. Germany were tied with Portugal after 3 quarters because they missed 22 threes in a row. It can happen, and Slovenia is much better than Portugal, I think. So if Luka gets hot again early, Slovenia stay nearby. Germany, after 3 quarters, the pressure might hit in, something. But for sure, Germany are the heavy favorites here. They can play very aggressive defense, but
I said to Donatas, someone commented a very good comment after one of our previous clips. It said, the concept of favorites is dead, doesn't exist anymore. It's broken. It was broken in this tournament.
EuroBasket is broken.
Favorites, like, that doesn't exist anymore.
It is true.
That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean
actually,
anything.
Germany is the real favorite because we made all those clips that this EuroBasket doesn't make sense. But when you think about it, both Serbia was struggling throughout the competition. France didn't show us enough quality. And although they were favorites by their name and status, by their names that they have on the roster, on the floor, they didn't actually look as clear favorites during the competition. With Germany, it's a different type of beast. It's a different beast. It's a different favorite. So they're the real favorites. Now they're the real favorites. But it's Slovenia, it's Luka Doncic, and this crazy EuroBasket. So this is perfect formula for some stupid, crazy ass things to happen.
And if you want to keep yourself sane throughout this crazy EuroBasket,
get insane with us.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, on Twitter for social media posts. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more clips that are coming after each of the games. We're reacting hot, fresh, right away, and also put the notification bell on to make sure you don't miss out. And BasketNews.com, your source for all the news EuroBasket 2025 related.